Welcome to Drawing with Fire. I'm Valarie, your neighborhood pyrography artist. I'm joined with Hubby.
Okay.
Yay! Today we are working on the rattle and the further back scales that are more blurry. I did do something I don't normally do, and that was I redid my pattern because it was driving me nuts. And I sanded down the board and actually used the board where I did the teeth a couple of weeks ago, and used that because it was a little bit bigger, and I'm much happy with it. I just want to show you, when you have a bad pattern, it makes things worse, and I definitely had a bad pattern because I did it. So this was the original pattern. Very, very busy.
Hey, Spence is here.
Hey, Spence. And this was the new pattern. A lot less busy. I'll do it this way, that way we can just see how less busy this was. The green didn't change, it was the snake.
And Sheila.
Hey Sheila. Much less busy with the new pattern. So I'm happy with that. Alrighty. So we are going to do the scales in the back. I think I'm going to go ahead and go with the tester pen. I haven't heated and tip up. Oops. I'm going to go with the tester, actually no, 18S. Ah, the 18S. There is a difference in size.
Greg's here.
Hey Greg! Been missing ya.
Yeah. Good to see you.
He's been working. Alrighty, so I'm at 1.5. And we know that when it's going, that basswood burns darker than birch, and I'm actually going to go up to 2. Because I'm going to put the dark in first, the shadow that's in between the scale, and then I'm going to go back and put the lighter stuff. These lower temps always take a little longer to heat up. My cords need to be replaced, but that's okay. Come on. Alright, we'll just get started at 2.5, and I'm going to go into the first dark.
And Teresa.
Hey Teresa. Almost seems like a member live.
It is. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's weird.
I'm looking at the wrong rattle. So let's go back down here. There we go.
Huh.
What's wrong?
Oh, the count saying how many is watching is wrong. Oh, never mind. It just updated. Alright. It's like there was only 4 people there, but there's more than 4 people in chat, including us. And so I was like, that's kind of weird.
FYI, so I don't forget, there's a couple of things. So all I'm doing right now is dragging down. I'm kind of curving because the rattles are not flat. I saw Suddenlink, our internet company, at the box, so if we lose internet, it's their fault. Hopefully that won't happen. Alrighty. And I even made a note to myself so I wouldn't forget. March 14th for the U.S. is daylight savings change. So everybody but Arizona and Hawaii spring forward. We do not. So for you guys, the live will be an hour later because it'll be the same time for us. Alrighty. Just getting in the darks. Some of them I'm not going full dark.
Andrea Tolera's here.
Hey Andrea. Alrighty, so right here we've got a dark. Get that in there. It curves down. Like this. That feels better. Now I've also got to watch that I have pine needles right here. And those will be filled in later. And we're going to do those as easy as possible. Because it can feel overwhelming.
Huh. I guess there's a problem with our audio.
Again, I checked it. What's it doing?
Greg says it's skippy. But bearable.
Skippy.
Let us know if it's still going on, please, chat. This is a mystery. I don't know
We
why.
don't have the heater on. Let's see if anybody else is having the problem. So frustrating. I don't think it's them messing with. Let's see here. I'm going to go up to this one here.
If it's skipping, then that would be a network issue. Shouldn't be a mic issue.
It depends.
Well, the mic would be distortion, like when our voices got high or something. But,
Your Munchkin voices.
Yep.
Alright. A lot of tapping in as we wait for Cat. A lot of tapping in and blending it out.
Teresa has the same.
Alright.
Maybe I need to start wearing my earbuds, or just one earbud or something, and like, so I can tell what's going on.
Maybe, because I don't know what it is. Alright, let me see if I can fix it. With it, because it's not showing a hue.
It's not background noise, it's distorting, Greg says. It's a lot better than it has been this couple weeks. So,
let's see if that helps.
chat, do you normally just bear with us?
Don't tell us.
Don't tell us. You're like, well, the audio is terrible, but I can understand it. It's like, we appreciate that, but
That would explain why
I didn't realize that
channel's not growing.
we had audio issues like that. I mean, we knew a couple weeks back when we had the voices change, but
We'll see. I just clicked off one of the filters. We'll see.
Teresa says it sounds like the network. Well, I guess after today I'll reset our router, and but we haven't been having problems, but it has been a while since I've reset the router, like 3 weeks, maybe.
Maybe. Alright.
Maybe before our broadcast every Tuesday I just reset the router.
Maybe. Plus, remember I said they're working on it.
Oh yeah. Well then,
I don't know. That's
if they're working on it, that's out of our control.
right now. I'm just tapping in with some of the darker areas, and I'm having to curve because they're not flat. So we curve them this way, but they also curve this way. So we have to pay attention to those curves. And I'm tapping in because right now I'm at a higher temperature and I don't want to adjust because I am doing the darks. So I'm just tapping in to make it quick. Which is actually, I did a lot of stippling with the snake head for the texture. There's a lot of stippling.
We will, Greg. Oh, I'll watch the replay and see what that sounds like. We have Sir Jingles de la Pie from Spain. Says
hello. Sir Jingles. I like that. So just quick drag down. Just trying to get the shape and block in. It'll be a lot different once I get everything around it. A lot of the darks won't seem so dark. So I'm just blocking in and getting my base layer. So get that in. And remember, rattles aren't perfect. So if we're a little off, totally okay. Let's see here. So what that is the shape. I did have to draw in some of the snake to get it right. Because it's always hard drawing in the pattern when it's little. I had to do the same thing with the commission. Just to tweak, make sure I got things right. Alright. So this one, watch scratching your nose. Don't want to burn your brain. Oh, I scratched my face.
Oh.
So it was just a reminder of know where your tip is.
Val Daniels is here.
Hey, Val.
Says, I was in a meeting, so I'm late. Shh, I'm supposed to be working. I will multitask and listen in.
We will be quiet.
We won't.
We will be very, very
We will not
quiet.
betray you, Val Daniels.
We'll be very, very quiet.
Joker's here.
Hey, Mike.
it's starting to get to be a party.
Why did I just have pink pop in my head? Can't sing it because
we can't do that either. We're about to commence festivity activities.
So right now this looks like a giant hot mess, and it's going to for a while.
So it looks like me.
Yes.
Hey.
You thought, ha ha ha.
I pretty much knew that you were going to do that. Walked right into that one.
Yep. Your nose hurting?
Yeah, I was just like thinking of the metaphor. It's like the pro wrestling thing. You just bounced me off the ropes and I ran into your arm.
I don't know. I was thinking of the glass door for me.
Oh.
Let's see here. Let's zoom in a little bit more. Right now, it is a mess. What?
I just remembered when I was a kid. I was like 15, and I ran into a sign in a parking lot. Like, not in a car. I ran into the sign. I was messing with my sunglasses. No, it wasn't the sunglasses. I was messing with something else, and I was walking in a median, you know?
Yeah.
And I was just not paying attention, and all of a sudden I looked up, and it was this one of those big, signs that with a big square metal, angle iron thing, and I hit it right in the glasses. It knocked my glasses off sideways, and the sign went wacka 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 wacka, and the sound made everybody in the parking lot look. And here's this 15-year-old kid who just ran face first into a sign. Here's your sign.
Here's your sign. The soccer mom story is still my favorite. I don't know if you've told this
one. I don't think chat ever heard that.
I don't know if you've told that one or not. So I'm at 2.5 on basswood, so it's burning darker. It would burn lighter on birch. We'll have to wait and see if they say, yeah, they've heard the soccer mom story.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Don't worry, it's another song. Not a song. It's another story of, yeah, people saw me too, Val. Yes, it is the worst. And it was worse because I tried to play it off like I was cool, which is kind of like the soccer mom story. But my glasses were all sideways on my face, and I'd also just run into a sign. So, you can't pick up your full points from that. You can't recover from that. There are people living still today that remember that moment, unfortunately.
Remember that kid in the 80s ran into the sign?
Yes. How long did it go? Wacka, 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 wacka. For a couple seconds. Spence says, no, we haven't heard that yet. Nope, I haven't heard the soccer mom story.
You got it. Okay, hold on. I just bumped my heat down to 1.5, and I'm trying to use more at the bottom of the tip versus the edge of the tip. And that's just so I can get a smoother burn. And blend this out. Plus it'll pull heat from the tip. So as I drag down, if I start in the darker area and drag down, it'll be lighter. And that's just how it works with all wood burners. Heat is always pulled from the tip by the wood. It takes some special electronics to keep a pen the same heat at all times. And wood burners don't come with that currently. Alright, go ahead with your sucker mom.
Alright, I'll keep it brief. So,
yeah, we know better.
So, this takes place, I was like 22, 23, anyway. And at that point in time, rollerblading was huge. And I was into that. And I was actually a pretty good rollerblader. I still am. But
I won't let him back on because you're old now and I don't want broken bones.
I haven't fallen in a long time.
Because you haven't been on in a long time.
That is also true. But I do wear my pads even then because I was working on doing stunt stuff because I was trying to up my rollerblade game.
And how old were you?
Like I said, 22, 23.
20. Okay.
I think.
I'm sorry I missed that. My brain's doing two things.
Anyway, So I was rollerblading down this hill in front of the battalion headquarters. Anyway, and so I was on the sidewalk, and I looked over, and there was this minivan to the right of me that was pacing me because I was doing the speed limit. And I thought it was pretty cool. And the lady driving the thing was clearly like a soccer mom. Pretty cute. And so I was like, yeah, pretty cool. I'm going down this hill. And I hit a patch in the sidewalk, and because I wasn't paying attention because I was too busy being cool. And I just bailed so hard. And I rolled a couple times. But, you know, we had this moment at first, you know, where I was like, I looked at her and she looked at me, and then like she smiled, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm cool. And then I was just sky ground, because, you know, I fell, and all I could hear was this lady go, oh my god! And so I got up because, you know, I could recover quickly, and I was like, I'll just shake this off. I'll be cool about it. And but there was nothing cool about it. And then, like, within a few seconds, I realized that, like, one of my elbow pads was up by my shoulder, and one of my knee pads was down by my ankle. You know, my helmet was all crooked. I flipped pretty hard. Anyway, like I said, a couple times. Like, I probably rolled like 3 or 4 times, you know, just because of the momentum, because I was doing like 20 miles an hour. So, yeah, I was pretty scuffed up. So, and that was pretty embarrassing. And I don't know, I have no idea if anybody inside of the headquarters building saw me. Probably. But, yeah, I'm sure that's a moment that she didn't forget. So, I'd be curious to know what that looked like on the outside. But,
are you really?
Teresa says splatter. And Spence is just laughing.
It's my favorite. So right now I'm just trying to block in some medium tones.
Joker says no, someone needs to integrate some vaping technology into pyrography machines. You know what, Joker? Not a bad idea.
Talk to Pat.
That would be a first.
I'll leave it at that.
It's like, why is your wood burner making so much smoke, and why does it smell like vanilla?
Talk to Pat. So I'm going to go back and detail this out because right now I have some darks and I have some mediums and I left space for the lights, but it needs more darks to really separate the rattles. I'm glad they're enjoying your pain.
You know, it just occurred to me, I have a lot of stories where I fail pretty hard. That's the legacy of Hubcap.
We all do. The difference is you're happy to share them.
I am happy to share them.
Because we all screw up.
I've got lots of Victoria stories as well, but they're not nearly as entertaining.
Put the end in. I'm not trying to outline, but I do need... The rock will be darker, so the outline will go away. Get a little bit of this rattle is off.
Yes, Spence, I'm sure that they did see me and they knew that I was trying to impress her. So.
Did you stop trying to impress girls after that?
What do you think?
No.
You are correct. But much like Augie from Role Models, my game was not the highest level. We just watched that last night. So.
Yeah. Okay, but what does that say about me?
Huh?
What does that say about me?
I was much cooler when we met.
Oh, okay.
So.
If you say so. I'm just switching over to the 9.
What do you mean if you say so?
To the 9M. Let's see. Let's back it up and see how.
Unresolved business there, Valarie.
No, I wasn't looking for cool.
Really? Ouch. Ouch. I hurt.
I love you.
I love you too.
I love you. I'm waiting for my pen to
I don't need your pity.
Since when?
Wait Wait a minute. I don't like...
Alrighty.
Hey, Stephen Bunch is here.
Hey, Stephen. Alright, let's try to detail this out so that we have some shape to it. Actually, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to erase. Let's get some of this graphite off the board. This is just a little piece of my vanish eraser because you can cut it off and make it smaller. I tried to go light with my transfer. Oops. That's not big deal. But Basswood likes to be stubborn and pick it up anyway. And this is just a 0 mono eraser that it's small but easy to handle. I don't use this one as much.
Steven says, looking great.
Thank you. It's going to be very busy and ugly for a little while. Alrighty. Let's get some darker ones in here. So this is the 9M 2.5.
Yeah, I'd say that our community interactions are really improving, and we really appreciate that. So, like, I'm seeing more thumbs up from the get-go, and I'm seeing more people show up to watch. So that's very cool, and very much appreciated.
Oh, very much.
So without you guys, Valarie is just here sitting in her studio and doing work alone. Except for I'm watching her. So.
Well, I already work alone. This is hangout time with our friends.
All right, George Thorogood.
Alright, let's go to our next dark. Hopefully we'll see the difference that adding these extra darks make. And some of them do look like lines. Texture this one a little bit more. I made it thinner than it is, but that's alright. That's alright. Not gonna stress about it. Remember, the darks on the rattle themselves will lighten up as I put more information around it. So I'm not gonna stress about that. I could do this with the 18S, it's just this is a little bit more exacting. A little easier. And I gotta remember, my reference is bigger than my actual burning. I gotta remember and not adjust the size. And we can even use dots. Well, that's a stippling for texture. And we still need to make sure and get that line at the middle a little darker. Let's see here. Kind of doing a reshape as we go. It's always better, if at all possible, to transfer correctly the first time around. Especially if you're new, you'll feel less frustrated with it. And as you go, you'll learn how to adjust either while burning or right after you transfer. You just make those lines better. So I'm just doing quick ovals to blend out. These are kind of like hash marks that I'm doing. Just up and down to break them up. I don't want it to look too uniform. Get some dark in there. It needs to be darker. And I won't fully finish out the rattle until I have all the information around it happening. Excuse me. Alright, where are we at? Here. Turn this around, get some dots in there because we do have some dots in here. So I'll just keep going back and forth, but I realized we were also going to discuss the blurriness of the snake in the back. So I'm going to pick a tip. I think I'm actually going to go with the tester tip because it'll be small enough to get in there. You could also use a large ball tip or medium ball tip. And in this pattern, the way I did it was where you see these diamonds, those are white. So in between the diamonds is the dark. And when we look at this, we can see where scales are overlapping, but they aren't detailed out. They're just more blobs and shapes. Whereas we can see more detail between these scales because they're closer to the camera. This is further from the camera. So when the camera lens took this photo, it focused on the tail, it focused on the head, which would be equal these scales here, and it focused here. So everything back behind it is blurry. So we need to pay attention to that because that right there gives the snake depth. If all of this was the same clarity, meaning we could see the scales like this back here, it would look overwhelming because our eyes wouldn't know where to stop. It would just keep going along the snake. Plus, it's less interesting. As it is right now, we can look at the tail, and if our eyes need a break, it breaks off onto this blurry part, and our eyes are like, oh, okay, let's go back to detail again. And these are little things that our brain pays attention to. So if we can incorporate that into our burning, it helps our burning to be more interesting.
Yep. So I have a comment about that, but Teresa wants to know, is that a ball tip that you're using?
This right here is the Tester Extra Small 18. I still need to test it on birch, which is what I'll be doing with the commission. So it is not currently available. Alright, let's see here. Trying to find the angle that I want to start with.
So Teresa says she wonders if the sound issues from the electrical plug surges. Pretty consistent sound. She has recommended we try switching outlets. I don't know if that's an option because we have pretty limited outlets in here, but we can. It used to be one of my additional jobs in the military was commo, and one of the things that we could do is we could unplug stuff and plug it back in because sometimes there's a charge that built up and it might just release that. So call it gremlins. Like sometimes you just can't get a piece of equipment to work. You just disconnect it completely from power source and let it sit for a second. Yep. So maybe we will try that. So, and then I was going to say on talking about focus, that is a really, really important thing that you brought up because when we're looking at stuff, it's always in focus because that's where we're looking. But if you pay attention, like the stuff that you're not looking directly at, you know, it is out of focus. And photography replicates that really well. But a lot of times when we do art, we forget that. And so, like, a lot of times when people paint, you know, pictures or, you know, do any kind of art, really, they forget that because, you know, you want to make every part of the thing clear, but you don't have that depth of field to work with, so it looks artificial. So, like, a lot of times if your art is looking flat, it's because everything is in focus. Or
the same tonal value.
Right. So there's so much to it. Like, tonal value is huge. Atmospheric perspective, that's huge. You know, but if you want to replicate with a piece of art, you know, like, you really want to try and draw your focus to something, you know. So, like what Valerie's doing, she has the head, you know, the head and the rattle, and that part of the snake that is in that frontal plane is in focus, and that draws your eye to it. And yes, the other parts of it will be blurry, but it's going to I'm not gonna say force the viewer because that sounds bad, but it
we do want to control how the viewer looks at something.
It helps control how people view your art, because if you paint a picture of like a person standing in front of a barn, I don't know, and all those things are clear, like, that person can get lost in that barn. But if you do something to single out the person and to make them the focal point, through any number of techniques or a combination of techniques, it'll be more successful as a piece of art. And that's something that I had to learn, because I thought, well, everything's in focus, because if you're looking at, if I painted something in a mountain, both things would be in focus, and I'd be like, well, that way you get to see the details in the mountain, but it makes them look like they're on the same plane, which makes either the mountain look really small, or it makes the person look, enormous, but it messes up the message for your brain. So your brain is the worst critic, because your brain will see that and be like, nah, I don't like it. Even if the art is technically great, you still need to learn those techniques to help replicate what your eyes actually do.
Alright, so what I've done is I've bumped down to 1. Remember, this pen heats differently, especially on basswood. And so I'm just tapping in these different shapes. And then part of what's going to make it blurry is the tonal value is going to be blended, kind of like right here, which obviously is not finished. But when you add shading that's close to the other areas, that kind of blurs it out. I do need to keep some whites because that's part of the snake. But as I go, let's see here, I'm trying to pick, I'm just tapping around these diamonds. And luckily, I can change how some of these shapes are. I'm not stressed about it. Let's see here. Okay.
Andrea, I'm not sure what you mean.
Yes.
She says, sound like a cable dog work to me. I don't know.
I'm not sure. I haven't heard that term. Hopefully, she'll explain.
Explain, please.
We may be learning something new. Which I always like learning something new. Always. I get very frustrated when people share incorrect information. Alright, so we just lost. That's pretty... I made that dark. Oh. I made that darker than I wanted to. So we have to darken up the rattle. Because I'm losing. See, and I'm only on 1. And this is still burning pretty dark.
How much longer do you want to go?
I don't know what time is it. I'm just going.
It's 11:34.
I'm just going. I know this feels overwhelming, but once you get kind of a pattern going, it gets easier. Let's see, darken just so it works.
Okay, I understand it now. She made a military reference and I didn't catch it at first.
I was wondering.
Yeah, cable dog. Yeah, there's Whiskey 3 cables. Yeah.
But how does that apply to what we... So I know.
Okay, so, like, what happens with a lot of military equipment is the connecting cables go bad.
Oh, okay, that's what we were talking about.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Like, either readjusting the cable or replacing the cable a lot of times will fix the problem. Sometimes, like I said, a charge builds up in the line and you just have to release that for whatever reason because the systems are not quite compatible or something. But that's what she was referring to.
Okay, that makes sense. Got it. Alrighty. See, we got a lot of these darks, so we're going to have to make sure and get the mediums in to go with the lights. And it actually looks like an arrow on his back right here, or her back. So I'm just creating shapes with my tip. And that'll be more so at the bigger scales in the front. Is using the tip to create not quite a stamping motion, but to help create some of the shape. Like I said, this is on basswood. This pen burns pretty darn hot. But if you're expecting it, it actually allows you. What I like about it is, even though because it burns hot like this, especially for basswood, it means I get to use a lower heat setting, which keeps the pen cooler while doing this. So I think I'm going to go ahead and tell Pat that this is the go.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yep. Because it does work in that way to help keep, because I feel like the foam is warm because of my hand, not because of the heat from the pen.
No, that's good.
Yep.
You don't generally have problems with these pens heating up like that anyway.
Well, the way I hold my pens with the cord underneath like this, it keeps, when I'm up at like 6, if I hold it like this, it keeps the heat from directly sitting on my hand. So it's a matter of how I hold the pen. Plus, this keeps weight off my wrist, so I can burn longer without pain.
Well, I think too, like, I deal with this with the airbrush, and that, you know, you have that, you have the line, the air line coming off the back of the brush, or wherever it's attached, but, you know, you always have that weight that you have to worry about. And I've just kind of gotten used to it, you know, like I use it as a counterbalance for me, but it can actually be a hindrance if you're not paying attention to it. So.
Well, it also puts extra stress on the wrist. It causes more pain. But between holding my pen the way I do now and sleeping in a wrist brace, I can't remember what they call it, but it actually keeps my hand completely immobile. While I sleep, it allows my hand to rest in the proper position so that when I wake up, I'm not hurting.
Yeah, Greg, that's kind of what I was thinking when I was talking about that, us shutting everything down and disconnecting it, is that having it build up like that, and hopefully we don't have anything like that, but if there is something, you know, then that would relieve it, you know, and I don't know, we'd have to troubleshoot all of our cabling, which say we have miles of it, so.
Well, no, because this is directly hooked up to the Wi-Fi, and then all my stuff is right here. All this stuff is right here and right here.
But is it a mic cable?
The mic cable is this right here, directly to the computer.
What I'm saying is that we have to check all that and see if it...
It's probably my settings. I just need to reset my settings before we do, because there's only one cable. This is a wireless mic that I've got hooked directly to the cable to use as a wired mic. There is no other cables for this mic but this one cable, which is going directly to the computer. So it's not any kind of other stuff in that realm.
Teresa has a question.
Mm-hmm. Okay, just a question.
Okay.
Just trying
I
to
thought
make...
you were reading it.
Oh, no, I was looking.
So, can you at some point demo lettering? Tips and tricks? You have a video on this. No, doesn't. The sounds that you're hearing, she doesn't like lettering.
No, I hate doing lettering. And of course, for this commission, I have lettering.
Yeah.
I am going to be recording it. I don't do fancy strokes, meaning there's some people who do beautiful lettering and they can flick their wrist this way and flick their wrist that way, and they get these beautiful lettering. For me, a lot of times it's a ball tip and the 9M to clean it up. That is the main way I do lettering. On the transfer, let's see here, my pattern is still attached to the board.
Yes, Greg, gremlins suck.
Oh, yes, they do. When I transfer, I just do the thinnest lines possible. And if it's like a really thin line, I'll do one stroke, and that's for on the transfer, and that's for my brain to go, okay, this is where the thin part is, as I'm paying attention. So I'll use a smaller ball tip for that. I found the extra large ball tip was really good for lettering, like for your Christmas present, your little Christmas present I sent. These are the 2 pens that I use for the lettering on your stocking. The extra large ball, and that was a matter of burning in the thickness. And then I used the 9M or the 19S small ball tip to tighten up the edges. I did record that, actually. I recorded that.
Did you?
I recorded burning the Secret Toasties present. Yes, I did. So I have a video. I just need to edit the video.
Gotcha.
I did record it.
That could take a while because I know you were on a pretty tight schedule. So
yeah. And having to redo certain things is just cut into it. And now I've backed this out so you can see. When we're looking at something, we see every little thing wrong with it. But most people are going to view a piece, depending on size, at more of a distance. Now, they may come in to look, angles and whatnot. But in general, when people are viewing pyrography, like for bigger paintings, it's further back. It's like, 12 feet is the average for what you need to pay attention on details and how everything looks color-wise. For a giant painting, for something, this is 7 by 8.75, something like that. Really, people aren't going to be, let's see here, I'm trying to get a visual to make it right. Let's see here. People aren't going to be viewing this, in general, closer than a couple of feet. Say 1.5 feet max. Especially depending on where it's hanging. Sometimes it's further. Ah!
What did you just do?
This screw is... So, you're going to be looking at, in general, about this close in person. It still looks a little small. So, I'm not going to have the piece like right up into people's eyes, so they're not looking at it that way. So, we need to not freak out and panic if it looks too sharp or whatnot.
Spence says it's looking awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't have the video up yet. I've got to edit it. And on something like that, it's going to need a voiceover at least for the first one. And then after that, I can just speed up the rest of the video. So you guys can see how I did your lettering. Which actually, the lettering for what I did on your present, which that must mean I love you guys that I did lettering specifically for you.
It's true.
Out of all the things I could have done, I did lettering. And the lettering that I got for my commission is not too far off between the two. So, yeah. Then what? Oh, yes. There was, did I do the time change? I did do the time change, but we're going to remind you that next Sunday is daylight savings time for the U.S. Sheila, when do you guys change? I didn't look that up. I think you guys may be a week or two after that. Because UK does not change at the same time we do. So, starting next Tuesday for the live, it'll be an hour later. So if you're on the East Coast and it was 1 p.m. Eastern today, it'll be 2 p.m. Eastern next week, and I will post in the group a reminder. If you're on the West Coast, you will be the same time as us. So California, Oregon, Washington, up into Toronto for Spence and Burl. That'll be 11 a.m. your guys' time. And I will post a reminder probably a couple of times because Facebook does not like showing me to my own people. Granted, I need to post more.
Teresa says she's looking at the ornament hanging on the wall.
Thank you so much.
And Teresa, Andrea, and Val says it's looking good.
Thank you. Next week,
Next week.
well, I can get 2 lives out of this or 1 more live. Preferably 2 lives because I do have so much going on with the commission. I don't want to have to come up with a whole nother project to start.
Yeah.
So next week, do you guys want to look at the detailed scales? Or I'll do this so we can see better.
Sheila says UK changes time on 28th.
28th. Okay, that's what I thought. So the end of March. So you guys have 2 weeks at the same time you guys already have. So we can do the scales. I don't know if you guys want to live just on the rock. The rock is actually really, really easy. And then we have the leaf litter and pine cones, blurry pine cones, and pine needles.
Sonia Vaughn is here.
Hey, Sonia.
It's a good start.
So, yeah, I can pull 3 lives at least out of this, just to give me breathing room.
Val says, please.
Yes,
detail or the grass.
We will definitely be doing the pine needles separately. And believe it or not, that's a lot easier than people think. That's a lot of negative burning.
Yeah.
Yep.
This reminds me of your deer.
Oh, yes, my dear. Oh, the raccoon.
Oh.
That was a 16 by 20 with a lot of pine needles.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So next week, I guess we will do detail on the scale. So I'll try to get this part done so we can focus on that.
Detail.
On the scales, the close-up scales.
Pine needles, not grass.
Yeah, it's pine needles.
Okay.
It's pine needles because we're in winter time right now, so we don't have any grass popping up. So this is pine needles and leaf litter. These are oak leaves from the fall, and a couple of blurred out. Actually, is that one pine cone? That's one pine cone and a pine cone here. So right now we don't have any grass in this. The background without the snake is a picture of my neighbor's rock. So we don't have any grass going on, but the concepts for a zoomed in grass would be the same. So
we're too poor to have good rocks. We have to go to our neighbor.
No, it's just I liked her rock better for what I was doing. I took plenty of rock photos of our rocks. It's just her rock was the flat that would make more sense to a snake because they, in the summertime, would get up on that rock in the morning and in the evening to warm up. And then it's got a cutout. It's got how it's sitting on the hill. It's got a cave for it to keep cool during the day. So this rock fit where a snake would typically be up here. Wait, your winter look like that? Oh, it's green, but we have a lot of pine trees.
It's funny because across the street,
they still have snow.
They have snow over there.
We haven't had snow in over a month. Yeah, our 2.5 feet went by real quick.
There's snow in the back of our house.
Well, that's where the shadows are.
Yeah. But not in the front.
All right, so we will focus on the front here, and I should hopefully get because I'll have to take breaks from the commission, so I'll pop this up so I can work on that and get that in. And right now he looks like a hot mess. Alrighty, so we got everything.
Yep.
We got everything. I got the time change, the pattern change, new board, burn stuff, your soccer mom fail. Okay, I think we're good.
Thanks.
You know what to say with me, though, when I find it. There we are. Say it with me loud. You're awesome.
Say it with me loud.
You can do this. Why? Because you're a pyro artist. You got this. Happy burning. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. See you
Troy's
next
here as we're
week.
saying goodbye.
Bye. Troy, you're late. Late, Troy.
Actually, we were on for a long time.
Yeah, we were late. Lunchtime.